Shifu,
Yes.
someone just called and asked about our school, which is a great thing, but as soon as they hear that we don't give a belt, they hang up on me.
Again?
Yes, again.
Or maybe we should do a video about our school no bail system.
I think we should.
Okay.
Let's do it!
Fu, everyone, and welcome back for our next Kung Fu Conversations with Shifu and Shimu. Now, here's a question, and be honest, have you ever hung up on anyone or decided not to follow up with a school once you found out that they didn't have a belt system? Now, that might not be the best indicator of your own growth and development in your martial arts journey. And please do stick around, listen to this video, and find out why that may not have been your wisest decision.
Omitofu, Stefan, and Omitofu, everyone. So who have hung up on me before? And be honest, you are out there. Now, all joking aside. So I think that we should start from the beginning. How about that? And clarify this. So let's talk history.
The year 495, our Grand Master, who was an Indian monk, Bhato, who was living in the kingdom, he didn't enjoy the kingdom lifestyle. He left the kingdom to build a monastery, where he found a forest, mountain around, water flow in front, to build a temple with his disciple.
And thus, Shaolin Temple and Shaolin Kung Fu was born. And the temple was given the name Shaolin Temple. And it's simply translated as Youth Forest.
Now, beside the name and the rich history of our martial arts system, Shaolin Kung Fu actually had a direct relationships with Chan Buddhism. And what Chan Buddhism really means is that we need to understand ourselves. So giving the principle between the Chan Buddhism, understanding yourself, and as well as the very humble origin of Shaolin Kung Fu, where is again, starting in a monastery. Therefore, our ancestors never did develop a belt system to measure ranking and or level. So basically, when you call a very traditional Shaolin school and they tell you that they don't have a belt system, it's just because we were honoring our ancestor and our tradition.
That's very interesting, but Shifu and Shimu, I have seen you in pictures wearing belts. Could you explain what those are about?
The bell is like this. Long time ago in ancient time, when we wearing the pants, because we don't at that time did not create the elastic or bell. They make a pants later usually longer. They have a bell to hold the pants rolling down. That's a very traditional way. And the other explanation is, you see, when the monks, when we live in a monastery, we wearing clothing much more loose, flower. And also during the practice, sometimes when doing weavings, maybe the weaving keep head clothing, they flow. When they use the bell to hold on to the clothing, may not flow that much. When you're doing the stopped rotation, especially, you will not caught up, or when you're doing bronze sword.
I'm sitting here and wondering, Stefan, how did our society become so fixated as bell, as a true indicator, as a level? Where did that come from?
Me personally, now some people might have a different, explanation, but for me personally, growing up watching these karate movies of the 80s, the kung fu movies in the 70s, they're very belt oriented, right? And people would look at, these black belts are like, you look at the black belt as like the epitome of success, right?
Yeah.
People might remember older video games like Street Fighter. You have Ryu with the belt on his head, and he's the that great master. So I think like people look at these colored belts, and they're kind of melding all the martial arts into one big system, right? And forgetting that each system has its own set of rules and expectations. So I think it's just like a pop culture, like how do you say, misappropriation in a way, right? Like we're thinking that all martial arts are the same. But to just sum it up, I blame movies from the 70s and 80s.
Okay, one more question, Stefan, I'll ask you. Means I know you study a lot, or even get your master degree, and get a bachelor, master, get a lot of certificate. I told you when you was a teenager, know you're the father, but I never give you a bail or give you a certificate to measure where you level you are, you're improving. What do you think about the Shaolin Kung Fu? Don't have the bail system.
So for me, I feel that it's a combination of a few things. Like so I'm Jamaican, right? So West Indian upbringing is very, how do I say, you respect authority, right? You're raised to respect authority. So I have a very traditional thought pattern when I step into this martial arts setting, right? Where I'm gonna respect you, Shifu and Shimu. And without a belt system in place, I'm trusting that you're gonna progress me along based on my own real actual progression, right? Both physically and mentally. Like, am I physically and mentally able to perform on a higher level? I'm respecting that.
Of course, in any learning situation or setting, there will be skill set. Okay, so let's not get confused that you don't have a belt does not mean there is no level in a sense of progression. Everything has progression. So again, we measure progression by what you could do, how well you could do it, and also technique that you're learning.
Kung Fu such have a rich history. We go back to base on the Chan Buddhism. In this universal, every single person is different, personality differently, body type differently, and then they grow differently in Kung Fu. And then just you need to train in some area, not other people need to train exam. You more stiff, you aim to get more flexible. Some people nature very flexible, athletic, right? And then some people not. But this come to, you see, to the Kung Fu is just because you're not athletic, can you study Kung Fu? Yes. You basically grow your own journey. It's not someone next to you or can do a 2-liter cake. You cannot. It's ready to build individually, continue improving. Such a Shaolin Kung Fu, such a rich history, even until today. No disabled come from Shaolin Monastery say and learning everything about the Shaolin Kung Fu. That's the whole powerful Shaolin Kung Fu, how rich history is.
I think that our ancestors really want us to look within, right? Because a true understanding of a technique, once you gain that understanding, no one could take that away from you. And if you don't understand a technique, no one could give it to you.
Yeah, I agree. And it makes a lot of sense because to not have a belt system, it makes a lot of sense if you're using Chan Buddhism as a foundation, right? In that, how do you, like you said, how do you indicate where your training has ended, right? And as Shifu noted, it's such a vast amount of knowledge. It's almost impossible to learn everything. And as you both have noted, it's a very much a personal journey as well. So if you're really gauging your own development and you're in it for self-improvement, when do you say it's enough? When do you say, oh, I've learned enough, or I can stop here? This is it.
Okay. Think about it, right? Self-understanding. What do you want to gain out of studying martial arts? What is your relationship between you and Kung Fu? Was it simply chasing a level so you could say, I only want to collect 10 certificates and I stop? And are you looking into the deeper meaning of Shaolin Kung Fu or martial art to better myself? Do I want to get stronger? Well, what does that mean? You could do 10 push-up, 20 push-up, after that 30, 40, 50. So what do you want? What do you want to get out of it? I can't tell you when you're going to stop. That could be only answered by you.
This has been another great Kung Fu conversation. In this video, we went over why there isn't a belt system in traditional Shaolin Kung Fu. Please like the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell icon so that you will know when we post our next video. And boy, Shifu and Shimu, this was a very interesting conversation. Do you have any last thoughts for our viewers?
学习少林功夫不是个终点，是个人的成长。
The learning of Shaolin Kung Fu is a journey and not a destination. So keep on learning, and we will see you on our next Kung Fu conversation. 阿弥陀佛。